like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We in this thing representing. Much love to the fam. The great Saint Tank. We up in this thing. Appreciate y'all joining me with this early Sunday morning stream. I guess you could say it's an afternoon almost. Might as well say afternoon stream, man. I thought we'd jump on here and talk some black and gold. So big ups to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being in the building. And like I've been saying for some time now, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. What's popping? Shout out to the fam, man. Took a little bit off, man, on with the black and gold, man. You know, but I'm back, man. Took a little break, but a lot of family members out there had to take a little break too from all the shenanigans of what happened from this past season. Saints moving, not in a fast motion, but then again, you know, Mickey Loomis did say that they're not in a hurry, that they're going to move like what they're going to move. And they're looking at different guys. And as you can see with the thumbnail, these are some of the guys the Saints are looking at for the potential offensive coordinator position. And of course, we know ultimately the big chip to fall is John Gruden. Like it, I'm getting a lot of commentary, a lot of comments about John Gruden. A lot of people are for John Gruden. A lot of people don't want nothing to do with John Gruden. I'm not going to say it's a split. It's more pro John Gruden than it's not John Gruden. You get what I'm saying? But that's just what I'm seeing from it. So in this episode, fam, we're going to go over the latest on the Saints in terms of the offensive coordinator search. And currently the Saints haven't really, to my recent knowledge, haven't signed anybody to replace any of the people that have left. So, I mean, they just kind of going through the motions right now, and there's still a lot of time. But as you can see, majority of the head coaching vacancies have been filled. That means that a lot of the candidates, offensive coordinator and all these other guys, are going to go. So you don't want to be too lazy and lackadaisical and dinosaurish in your approach to fill talent for your staff going into the upcoming very dire season for Dennis Allen. He done sit there and kept him, but moving in this fashion doesn't really help unless you're going to promote guys from within the organization to those positions. So we'll see what happens there. All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate each and every last one of y'all for being in the stream. We're going to go over several different topics in terms of what we're looking at with the offensive coordinator position. We'll also kind of delve into some of the other stuff in terms of the NFC South making their hires. You see that Canellis and Raheem Morris will be our coaches that have been brought into our competitors in the NFC South. You know, I give some breakdown on that and my thoughts on that as well. Atlanta's not playing. They gave Raheem Morris a 5-year contract. And let me tell you, Raheem Morris is a good coach. He's a good coach. Canellis is a really solid pickup for the Carolina Panthers. He's not flashy, but he's just what they need to get Bryce Young going for that team. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, we'll cover the Cardell Hayes news that happened a couple of days ago with him being retried for the murder of Will Smith. And we'll kind of cover that in this episode of the stream. So please do me a service, family. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. Big ups to Tori, Kevin, M. Nelson, St. Doug. Shout out to you, Tori. Good to see you, brother. Bronze Flat Power God. Shout out to you, that boy alone. Ekel, shout out to you as well, fam. Dana, much love to the Queens in the building. Pete, was shout out to Pete as well. I see you, Pete. Much love as well. All right, big ups to the family. Get ready to get going in this thing. Asa says, nobody not coming here. Gruden will, only because he's trying to get back in the league. I think those OCs turning us down and don't want to be attached to Dennis Allen. Hey, Asa, thank you for your comment, fam. It's interesting, man, because the Giant, and I've given my take on John Gruden, both sides of the fence. You know, there isn't anybody that wants John Gruden as a position coach or a head coach right now. Now, ultimately, once the Saints sanitize John Gruden, meaning they bring him back into the league, other teams down the line will then look at him again once he's brought it. But a lot of people don't want to, bring him on to their team right now. It's a lot of stuff going on. His trial is going on right now, which is very important to the Who Dat Nation insofar as this could mean the destruction and the downfall of Roger the Chump Goodell and his corrupt brand of football. So listen, this case with Gruden in the NFL, and in particular aiming at John Gruden's against Goodell, this is huge. They're underselling it, but I'm telling you, this could bring his ass down. And that's why he was trying to petition the court for it to go into arbitration so he could set up a kangaroo court. He being Goodell could set up a kangaroo court where he was the arbiter over the arbitration period and then dismiss this and have a kangaroo court. But credit to the court saying, no, we're going to hear this here. That means all the dirty laundry that was being suppressed will be aired in front of the public. And that's what John Gruden wants to do. That's what he means by burn the house down, airing all of the dirty laundry. So even if you're not a fan of John Gruden per se, in terms of a coach, you have to be in terms of a supporter for John Gruden. If you don't like Roger Goodell, like a lot of the Who Dats don't like him, we don't like him. He tried to steal the Who Dat, trademark. He did the no call on the NFC Championship game against the Rams. He heavily penalizes Saints players. It's a lot. I mean, remember, Alvin Kamara had to go up there and kiss Roger Goodell's ass for him not to get hammered for what happened with him in Las Vegas. Remember, he went up there and pleaded to Roger Goodell, and Goodell went lightly on him. Had him not do that, watch what have happened to Alvin Kamara. He would have got way worse than that. I promise you that much. Because we've seen it time after time with players when they get in trouble downhill, he hammers them. And that's because he's petty. He keeps vendettas against the Saints and the Cowboys because of what Tom Benson, the late Tom Benson, did when he voted against him. He did not like Roger Goodell. He voted against him, and Goodell remembers that. So this could be one of the situations where all this stuff comes out. He could be torn off of his pedestal for violating 650,000 emails, and only Gruden was the one that got caught up. According to a lot of the stuff that's out there, there was a lot of other stuff going on because they wanted to get rid of two people. That was Goodell, and they wanted to get rid of Snyder, and they accomplished both. But they didn't count on Gruden being an alpha and saying, "Man, I'm gonna take you down." So we'll see what happens here, man. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on. All right. So anyway, shout out to the fam, man. Thank you, Asa, for that commentary. Pete, much love to the fam. Good to see y'all. I see what you're saying, Molly. Molly saying it's depressing to cover the sand. Nah, it's not right now. Because listen, bro, it's ebbs and flows. It's up and down. It is life. We can't, we've had an extended period of time when we excelled football wise, and a time when we didn't. If we understand and could appreciate the highs, we can definitely understand and appreciate the lows to understand that eventually with movements, they can't deny it. Now we know we really shouldn't be going through a low period right now because we're under bad management. It's bad mismanagement. It's not bad management, it's mismanagement. There's no management going on here. Nobody in their right mind sees Dennis Allen as a head coach at any level. That's just the true honest thing about this whole here. And we're under mismanagement, and he has one more year to do it, and it's going to be a difficult year for him to do this. So we'll see. They're desperate, man. They operating under us because he can't protect Dennis Allen after this year. That's the bottom. That's the bottom line. All right, give me just a second, fam. I'm texting somebody. All right. All right. All right. All right. So anyway, thank you for that. For that. All right. Who that for life says, what are your thoughts on Brian Greasy? Well, I mean, Brian Greasy, man, got that NFL pedigree. You know, he understands what's going on, and Brian Greasy could be a good fit for the Saints. I know people was looking at Clint Kubiak, which is you know who he is, but Brian Greasy, a lot of people really like Brian Greasy. They really do. Now Johnson is the guy a lot of people kind of leaning to do that, and I just think at the end of the day, um, are these really true candidates? Are the Saints really serious about these candidates? You know, is this just time wasting until we know what happens with Gruden? Because they met with Gruden before the last Tampa Bay game. They went down there to Tampa, met with Gruden. They were interested in bringing Gruden on to the Saints offensive staff in some capacity, high capacity. And Gruden was interested. That was reported that Gruden was interested. The Saints were interested. What's the problem? The problem is the trial going on right now. Now, they're supposed to be, I did a report, an update on it a few days ago, but it is supposed to be over in a couple of weeks. You'll hear, a verdict read down, and that's supposed to be within the next week. So it's been 2 weeks. They say a week or so. So we're thinking 2 weeks. Well, 1 week is already passed, and we're getting into the second week. So in the next several days, we should hear something about John Gruden's case, that it'll come to a completion. So is that what's going on with the New Orleans Saints? And could some of these guys that they're looking at could be brought in as lesser offensive people? You see what I'm getting at? Could this be the case? Remember, the Saints do the same thing every year, and we're gonna get into the tracker momentarily. But the Saints do the same thing every year. It's Mickey Loomis. These people have a routine, a pattern that they do every year. They don't rush to do anything in terms of the coaches. They really don't. If you look at overall, they don't rush to do anything, and that's Mickey Loomis. He doesn't. He's comfortable. He's lazy. He doesn't. He feels like he doesn't have to do anything, and that's a shame, because every person that worked for the Saints should feel like they got a fire under their feet. None of these people should be feeling as comfortable as they are, to think that they can do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. But in the end, it only sets them up for a disaster, because we're going to remind them of that, and eventually you're going to take care of yourself. All this elitism and all this talking down to people, all that's going to be washed away, pal. You got sooner or later, the guy that you calling all these names, or this is great and he's great, this guy comparing him to Walsh and Belichick, we're going to see what you're talking about, pal. We're going to see what you're talking about. But is this window dressing as they wait for Gruden to get through his legal case? Is this window dressing? Well, we'll see. Remember, that happened with Eric Bieniemy, when the Saints brought in Eric Bieniemy and sat down there with Eric Bieniemy for 8 hours and talked about everything. I mean, from football to UFOs, whatever it was, they talked about it. In 8 hours is a long time to sit down and talk to somebody and then get up and leave and don't take no job with them. And I'm pretty sure he had it in his mind that he was being interviewed for the head coach position. And then when it all ended, they offered him the offensive coordinator position, which was a slap in his face. You know, it's like, man, for really, who's the guy that you want for the head coach? Dennis Allen, really? You do realize that I'm an offensive coordinator that ran one of the most prolific offenses in the league for several years, right? You know, my offense, you know, that I'm attached to, that we have multiple Super Bowl rings, right? You know that, right? You know, this is mostly an offensive driven league, correct? You know that, right? Yeah, we know all of that, but you want the OC job or not? I know I'm going back to Kansas City. Well, who's the coach? Dennis Allen. You know, it don't make any sense. But it is what it is because we got Mickey sitting on top of the team. You get me? Shout out. Yeah, time wasted. I said it, bro. I called Mickey Loomis a time wasting troll. That's what I called him because it doesn't, and most nobody, and listen, nobody and everybody, you know, these execs, all of them operate in the same pool. Nobody looked at Dennis Allen as a candidate for anything. No interviews, no nothing. Only the Saints because they operate in circle wise. It's a circle camp. A circle boy is a good old boy camp. When Sean Payton told Mickey Loomis, now he gonna sit up here and lie and tell you it was his decision to bring Dennis Allen on, and really what it was Sean Payton told him to do it, and he did it. And I keep telling y'all, he's not a real general manager because he does not operate as a general manager. No general manager lets his feelings stop him from doing in-season evaluations. You're supposed to be evaluating at least every week. I would say daily to keep a temperature or a check on your team to see if anybody's disgruntled, to see if you can help where you can, to make sure you keep the defense high. Do we need some more personnel in the defensive line? To make sure you stay in contact with Dennis Allen. If he's losing games, listen, you know, stepping in and understand, listen, it's a point where I got to step in and I got to let you know, listen, I got to step in here and do this. But that's not what he does. He never did that. He's been doing the same thing with Sean Payton, with Dennis Allen. He lets you destroy the ship. You could tear the ship up, you could sink the ship, and then he'll come out later on and make excuses. He'll stat prattle. He'll say dumbass stuff. He'll be elitist. He'll talk down to you, tell you not qualified to talk about his coaches, that you're y'all can name it. He done said a lot of stupid shit this year that I've been just hammering him to pieces on, and it's been showing you because you never seen him operate as, you know, ridiculous as he is, because he's never been under this supreme amount of pressure. He's been protected by Sean Payton. Payton would protect him. When people used to ask questions to Mickey Loomis, he would defer them to Sean Payton. He didn't have to handle it. He didn't have to deal with this much pressure because you made a bad hire, and instead of correcting yourself, you're going to still arrogantly, ignorantly, foolishly, stubbornly, and stupidly continue to go down this course, even though you know it's the wrong course, and you're doing it out of arrogance. And that's why I want you to be demoted. But they won't do it because they're comfortable. And I kept saying that all of a sudden Mickey Loomis gets it in his mouth. We're too comfortable as a team. Oh, really? You never said that before. But all of a sudden, you're comfortable now? And he wasn't talking about him. He was talking about them. Them meaning the players and coaches. We're going to make it uncomfortable on guys today. And that's what I told them. At the end of the season, we're going to make it uncomfortable. Oh, you're in the back. Yeah, Mickey, when you talk about uncomfortable, aren't you including yourself? No, absolutely not. I am. Hell no. We talking about you guys. We need to keep you uncomfortable. No. You are the guy. You're the problem. And I kept telling people, now they see. Now everybody is putting on the glasses, the magical glasses, and they see the aliens. They see the people. They see the problem child. They see who the problem child is. We thought it was Dennis Allen. No. I kept telling y'all, I said, the problem is that guy. Now you guys see. Yeah, he's definitely a time-wasting troll. All right. Well, shout out to you, Farouk. Good to see you in the building. Who that for life? M. Good to see you. Marlon Mosquito Saints had to satisfy the Rooney rule with the enemy. Exactly. And Flores, I don't know why he didn't put the Saints in the suit, but Flores interviewed with the Saints as well. He was a good candidate, and it's a shame. Kai says they need to go on and hire Gruden and stop. They can't do it yet, bro. He's under right now. They could have a handshake agreement behind the scenes, and they won't announce it till after what happens with the case, because we know that happens. Like they'll have it. Listen, we'll hire you after the case when everything's squared away. We'll not wait a day or a day or two, and then announce that you accept the position. But we know what time it is. They won't even feel questions about John Gruden. If you're not interested in this candidate, then say it. They are interested in, and the case is tied to the fact that he's going through this situation with the legals, and it's not just him suing somebody else outside. This son of a gun is suing the commissioner of the NFL in which the team is playing in. So it's not exactly Joe Bob from up the street or Thornton from down the block. No, this dude is suing the corrupt commissioner of the NFL and threatened with very inflammatory language to burn the house down. I mean, literally burn. He said that. He's the president of the Roger Goodell club, and all this kind of stuff. So he's going hammer down on Roger Goodell. And listen, if he wins, and I really want him to win, not because I don't, because I got some type of love for Gruden, it's because I have a disdain for Roger Goodell, and I think that all corrupt execs and people should be brung down. I'm for that, for real. Anyway, so shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being here. All right, what's up, Jamal? I said, what in the world, Bo? Appreciate y'all getting. Well, hey, bro, you're quite welcome, man. He was gonna get up out of there anyway, bro. Whether we beat y'all bad or not, they were eventually going to get rid of that guy. Even if they were going to, it was the writings on the wall. They did what they were supposed to do, and like I said, I told the family members here in the Great Saint Think Tank, if the Saints had lost 3 games in a row going into the end of the season, the Saints still, Mickey Loomis would have not fired him. He would have not fired Dennis Allen. This is the kind of foolishness that we have to go through while you get our time, we get our time wasted. But like I said, we got to handle it in a way where we understand that it'll eventually come to the truth. And the truth of the matter is, we know that Dennis Allen is not a very good head coach, and we know where not very good head coaches end up. They end up fired. They end up gone. And we just have to wait for our truth to be thrown out there while not giving them any money. Well, you get what I'm saying? But anyway, let's get into the shout out to NOLA.com. This is on them. Saints search for offensive coordinator is starting to come together. Saints have more than a half dozen interviews either arranged or conducted, while 2 other candidates have fallen out of the running. Cincinnati Bengals coach Dan Pitcher reportedly is becoming the Bengals offensive coordinator, so he's no longer a candidate for the Saints. But Pitcher bowing out haven't stopped New Orleans search, far from it. Here's a detailed look at where things stand to replace with Pete Carmichael. Known candidates: Gerard Johnson, Houston Texans quarterback coach. Remember, they got a second interview that they did with Gerard Johnson. After 3 straight seasons with 4 or fewer wins, the Texans quickly turned things around in 23, winning the AFC South and advancing to the divisional round of the playoffs. Rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud was one of many drivers of the resurgence, and his phenomenal debut season has made his position coach a name to watch out for this offseason. Now Johnson's 35 years old, 4 seasons of the NFL coaching tree under his belt, 9 calling plays at the professional level, but the results speak for his coaching ability. When they picked up CJ with the 2nd overall pick in last year's draft, he turned in one of the finest seasons by a rookie quarterback. He led the NFL in passing with 273.9, an interception percentage of 1.0. He became only the 3rd quarterback in NFL history to pass for more than 4,000 yards and 20 touchdowns while completing better than 60% of his passes. Phenomenal. Before joining the Texans last offseason, Johnson spent 1 year as the Minnesota Vikings quarterback coach, where Kirk Cousins also enjoyed a strong season under Johnson's direction, throwing for over 4,500 yards and 29 touchdowns while leading Minnesota to a 13-4 mark. Johnson broke into the NFL as a Bill Walsh Diversity Coaching Fellow with the Colts in 2019. He spent the next 2 years on the Colts staff as a quality control assistant. He's working his way up. While he never worked directly with either the Rams or Coach Sean McVay or 49er coach Kyle Shanahan, he does have ties to both coaching trees, a Vikings head coach And offensive play caller Kevin O'Connell spent 2 seasons as McVay's offensive coordinator, while Texans offensive coordinator and play caller Bobby Slowick spent 6 seasons as an assistant on Shanahan's staff in San Fran. Now, Johnson has received interest from other teams beyond the Saints. He's spoken with the Browns and received the request to be interviewed with the Eagles, who the Eagles already picked up their guy. Saints. So the Saints held the meeting with him on Monday. Now, Zach Robinson, and we need to go into about Zach Robinson because Zach Robinson was signed. He took the job to be Zach Robinson ultimately took the job to become the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. So Raheem Morris is building his offensive room, and he brought in Zach Robinson to be the new OC out there with the Falcons. So we'll see. We know that Raheem Morris can coach the hell out of some defense. We know that he's a player coach. He's a guy that did it before with the Buccaneers. He had a lot of people love Raheem Morris. He's perfect for what Atlanta has going on. I'm gonna get more into that, but getting Zach Robinson to come there is really big, for them. And just a little backdrop on what we're going to see in terms of their offense next year. It's going to be something interesting. McVay's coaching tree has produced solid results so far. Green Bay's Matt LaFleur, Minnesota's Kevin O'Connell, and Cincinnati's Zach Taylor have all become excellent head coaches, and they all spent time working under McVay from an assistant level. Now, Waldron jumped out from the Rams quarterbacks coach to become an innovative coordinator in Seattle. He was also somebody that had some stuff going on and with the Rams, and Robinson has worked closely with big names such as Matt Stafford, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield. He enjoyed a bounce back year in 23, yada, yada, yada. So this guy is heading to the Atlanta Falcons, and what he's trying to do is replicate McVay's offense and bring it to the Falcons. So how you gonna deal with that is what how you gonna deal with that? So like I said, man, it's going to be an interesting year because I ain't gonna say adversaries, but the Atlanta is. But a lot of your competitors in the NFC South, they stunk last year, but a lot of the stuff that were hurting them, they've improved upon. They've got a solid coach that will really build that team up. The defense was already there. They had all kinds of issues with the offense. They could fix the quarterback position. They have good talent there, wide receiver wise, running back wise. They've got the weapons, and they are going to be dangerous. And also, you look at what Carolina has. Carolina, a few pieces here, and a coach that is QB friendly will help Bryce Young turn everything around. So, Brian Griese, San Francisco 49ers quarterback coach. If you're a longtime Saints family member, you recognize Griese's name because he was a former quarterback for the Buccaneers, but now he's a coach for one of the best teams in the NFL. So it's no surprise the Saints have taken an interest. Griese has been in the coaching ranks for long. He hadn't been there that long. He joined Kyle Shanahan's staff in 22 after spending years as an analyst and color commentator for ESPN. But once ESPN decided to move in a different direction from him being on the Monday Night Football streams, it was a wise move. So Griese has been a part of the 49ers team that has advanced to the NFC Championship 2 years in a row with a top-tier passing attack. Now, Griese is 48. He's worked closely with starter Brock Purdy, the last pick of the 2022 draft, who's developed into an MVP candidate. Boy, there's talent everywhere. Don't tell me that there isn't. They found this guy here, and look what he's doing. Griese, who played 11 years in the NFL, has said he believes his range of experience from starter to backup has given him a perspective on how to work with quarterbacks. That's a good point. There's very few positions in sports more high stress than being a quarterback in the NFL, and there's no way around it, he told AP back in 2022. We don't talk about eliminating or running away from stressful situations. We talk about how are you going to cope? How are you going to manage? Because the rough times, the rough waters will come. They come for everybody, no matter who you are. We just talked about that. It's phrased a little differently, but it's all about how you handle not so much the success, because the majority of the people handles the success pretty well, but it's how you handle the adversity in between those successful periods. Are you royal with it? Are you calm? Do you have faith, or do you break apart? That is a big sticking point right there. So yeah, he has a very interesting perspective. A former quarterback, starter, and backup. Right, he's the son of the great Bob Greasy. So I mean, he has NFL leanings in that bloodline. But in the end, a lot of people really like Brian Greasy to step in and be an offensive coordinator. But the only thing is, are the Saints serious about this? It's just waiting to see what happens with Gruden. Clint Kubiak, San Francisco 49ers passing game coordinator, the son of former Super Bowl winning coach Gary Kubiak. Clint Kubiak has carved his own coaching path in the NFL before joining the 49ers last season. Kubiak has had stops in Denver, Minnesota, and in Denver in a variety of roles as he ascended through the coaching ranks. In 2021, Kubiak was named offensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, a role he held for one season before Coach Mike Zimmer and his staff were replaced at the end of the year. Now, though Kubiak has 1 year of coordinator experience, he helped put together a productive offense during the season. The Vikings finished 12th in yards, 14 in points, 11 in passing, and 17 in rushing. Like other candidates the Saints have interviewed this cycle, Kubiak is relatively young at 36 years of age, right? Ronald Curry, this is maybe a possible move or promotion from inside of the team. Ronald Curry, the Saints quarterback coach and passing game coordinator. Mickey Loomis declined to say if Curry will be considered to replace Carmichael, but the Saints have indeed conducted in-house interview according to multiple resources. Excuse me. This could be just a Rooney Rule thing. You see, Curry's familiarity with Carr and offense makes him a natural candidate. If the Saints want to hire from within, Curry, who's 44, was in the mix for the Bucs offensive coordinator job last year, and he's seen as a rising coach around the league. He has coached New Orleans quarterback since 21. He's also become the team's passing game coordinator a year later. And word on the street is that people are going to look at Curry. There's still jobs that's out there with various teams of filling their coaching ranks. And there's still people out there that could be possibly looking for offensive coordinators. There's still two teams right now that need coaches. So, I mean, we're far out of it. And Curry could be a guy that goes somewhere else. Now, last year, remember, we were advocating for Ronald Curry for the Saints to switch up and allow Ronald Curry to call games last year. So Dennis Allen didn't even look at that, even though several times during the year when the offense was stinking, stuck in the mud, awful, couldn't put up points, was kicking field goals, he refused to make a change. He refused to do anything about it. We just kept hearing all the rhetoric about how great the practices are, but it didn't translate on the field. You see? And then ultimately we kept saying, listen, do something different, because that's what progressive coaches do. When things look bad, they don't smash their ass and just say, we're going to just be patient, we're going to do it. No, you have the NFL, NBA, all this stuff is a game of adjustments. You got to be able to adjust when you see something not working. You can't smash your ass there and say, well, it'll pick up sooner or later. No, you got to make a move. You got to adjust. You got to change. Whether that's allowing a man to come in and call the plays for a game or two just to see how the offense responds. Things could, that might be a communication issue. It might be they react better to another guy. We see this all the time with quarterbacks. Like you'll see a quarterback in there and he just don't have it. They take the quarterback out, put the backup in, and then all of a sudden stuff starts flowing. It's all about rhythm. It's all about energy. And sometimes other guys react better to an energetic person. They might feel more of a camaraderie with that guy versus the other guy. But that never was the case with the Saints. Progressiveness and all this type of stuff and making adjustments very fast and quickly is not something that Dennis Allen is good at and isn't attempting to get better at. That's one of the things that make him not a good coach. You can't adjust slowly while your adversaries are adjusting quickly. You're going to lose. You're not going to win. So Curry was never we'll see what they look like. But like I said, I think this is just window dressing. All right, Mike Sullivan, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback coach of the Saints candidates to replace Carmichael. Sullivan might be the most experienced. The Steelers quarterback coach started his coaching career in 2002. He's been an offensive coordinator twice. He first held the role with the Bucs from 2012 to 2013, then again with the Giants from 2016 to 2017. He's 56, has also been a quarterbacks coach for the Steelers, the Broncos, and the Giants. But Sullivan's most recent work was with the Steelers. And it's likely the reason the Saints are interested in speaking to him for the job. After the Steelers fired offensive coordinator Matt Canada back of November of 2021, Sullivan called plays for the final 8 games, which led to a noticeable improvement for the offense. Pittsburgh ranked 14 in offense from weeks 12 to 18, where it was ranked 28th overall the first 11 weeks under Canada. Sullivan helped the Steelers improve offensively despite uncertainty at the quarterback. Pittsburgh eventually turned to third stringer Mason Rudolph, who played very well enough to keep the job over normal starter Kenny Pickett once the 2022 first rounder returned from ankle surgery. The Steelers finished 10-7 and made the playoffs, losing to the Bills in the wild card round. Now, Sullivan is available in part because the Steelers coach Mike Tomlin said the franchise hire from outside of their vacant offensive coordinator position. Though Sullivan called plays, running backs coach Eddie Faulkner was named Pittsburgh's interim offensive coordinator. The Saints, though, aren't the only team that expressed interest in Sullivan. He reportedly interviewed with the Raiders before speaking to the Saints. So that's background on him. And Brian Johnson is here as well. Brian Johnson, former Eagles offensive coordinator. And I think I have to look at it. Y'all remind me in the chat if Brian Johnson signed with somebody. I think no. Didn't Brian? I think Brian Johnson. I don't think he signed with. I think he's still out there. Y'all remind me in the chat. Let me know his status because I think he's still available. I don't think anybody picked him up. I know the Eagles made some moves and they picked up a new coordinator, offensive. I think who was the offensive guy they picked up? Y'all put it in the chat. Let me know, man. Kellen Moore. That's right. Kellen Moore is expecting. That's Ian Rappaport dropping that game. Let me see if I can share that is. The Eagles expected to hire Chargers offensive coordinator at Kellen Moore to be their new coordinator and one of the top OCs around. So there you go. So Philly, this is what progressive teams do, right? We know Kellen Moore is a rising star in the NFL, right? People respect his offenses. He's a guy that's seen as a kind of a, very bright offensive coordinator. The Eagles made the guy, their offensive coordinator. So in the end, it's going to be interesting to see just how well, listen, let me just say this and I'll get back to the Saints stuff, fam. This is when you watch other teams. The Philadelphia Eagles was a team that was going through stuff, right? Sirianni had some issues that happened. What happens? He gets a new offensive coordinator, and Fangio, I think Vic Fangio, isn't he the defensive coordinator? So they get Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator and Fangio as the defensive coordinator. And then that's what I'm saying. This is what progressive teams, and that's the general manager is Roseman, Howie Roseman. This is what productive and in tune, progressive, want to win general managers do. They're always cutting edge. They're always looking to get the best talent offensive and defensively, whether it's players or coaches. They're always looking to do that. They are miles and leagues ahead of what old dinosaur mentality, fake ass general manager and Mickey Loomis, who's really parading like he's a GM. He's just VP. He's a VP. He getting paid for 2 jobs and getting paid for 2 jobs and really doing 1 job. And most of the stuff with the contracts is handled by Kai. So I mean, this is the difference. Now, if you like Mickey Loomis, keep him at the VP. I'm all for him being a VP, but VP only, because we don't need a slow ass, unconcerned dinosaur smacking, chewing gum, glossy-eyed, flushed face, B-rating, elitist-minded general manager who gets fleeced by real people like Roseman for draft picks. I got to keep my hands in my pocket when that guy comes around. No, you don't have to keep your hands in your pocket. You just got to hire somebody that knows how to be a general manager like Howie Roseman. So they know how to deal with him. Oh, goodness. But anyway, thank you, Brent. She said, did Curry teach Carr how to go through progressions? Yes. And stare receivers down. We don't need more of the same, more changes. Better come on.
Hey, man. Bro, come on now,
man.
dog. Come on, man.
Indeed. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Yes, indeed, man. It's crazy how the Saints operate, with it. But it's just this has to pass, you know, and I don't want everybody to get down. Do please, family, don't get down on this season that's coming. Don't get down. Don't get down on the Pelicans. Don't get down on the Saints. I think the Pelicans are learning. You know, they're healthy and they are learning. This was stuff that was supposed to happen a couple of years ago because all these injuries kept the team from playing together as a team. They'll get better. The Saints will get better eventually. This is just truth truth has to sanitize through the Saints. We've come through a lot of awareness this past year and the year before, right? We figured out who the issue is. We know who the issue is. The majority of the Who Dat Nation's eyes are fixated and been they've spotlighted it. They know, and they are hitting Mickey Loomis with questions. Look how he looked in that end of the season press conference. That was a disaster. That was a disaster. But we do realize that he is the issue. He's the problem. So in the press asked him, is there another guy, are you about stepping down? Maybe they didn't say stepping down, but about potential general manager being promoted, such and such. Well, that's just some made up stuff. Somebody wrote that. That's not going to happen. That kind of stuff. So it's, just give it some time. Just give it. I'm not going to do that. He bust that Urkel on your ass. But listen, I'm just saying at the end of the day, eventually this will pass. So y'all just laugh and just enjoy yourselves, man, because I'm telling you, it's going to happen. We know what time it is. We just have to be patient while once again we are proving correct, because we were proven correct this past year and we were proven correct the year prior to that. The Saints are failing, not because of talent, because of mismanagement. I kept saying the same thing. There is no general manager. There's a general mismanager. We got to. I'm gonna start phrasing that now, family. Let's coin that right now. We're gonna start. It's not we don't have a general manager. Let's rebrand it as a general mismanager. How about that? The NFL's first general mismanager is and the oldest one is the Miss General manager is Mickey freaking Loomis, who's been operating with the Saints for 20 some odd years. He's the oldest tenured guy there, and he's not. Kept saying it. Dude's not really a general manager. He's a VP parading as a general manager. Is Sean Payton tell him to do this? Sean Payton tell him to do that? Y'all remember when Mickey used to get up there? He would defer all questions toward Sean Payton. He did it with Dennis, to a point when people start realizing that Dennis Allen doesn't know what he's doing. He gets the face, y'all know, the possum, the confused possum with the lights, the possum with the car coming at him and he's stuck in the middle of the road. The scared, confused possum, the deer in the headlights, or the possum in the headlights look. He gets that all the time. He's like, man, I don't think this dude know what he's doing. No, he doesn't. He doesn't know what he's doing. That's the whole point of this. That's why it's a big show of comedy. So all we have to do is just be what we've been doing, being right. We've been calling it right. We've been talking about who the problem is. So we ultimately going to see it. The general mismanager. That's what it is, John. The NFL's first general mismanager is Mickey Flippin' Loomis. That's who it is. The Miss General. That's what it is. Y'all remember that general mismanager, Mickey Loomis. That's who he is. That we are under mismanagement. You ever heard that? Remember that old song? It's an old song, R&B song. Love Under New Management. Y'all remember that? My ladies in the chat, y'all put the name of that person up and put that in the chat, man, because I remember that song. But yeah, when you go to a new business and you see they shut down and it's your favorite hamburger joint or your chicken joint, and they got a sign up there, it's on the big sign off the street, and they say under new management. You change that, you put up there under mismanagement, and that's what we are. We're currently under mismanagement, and that's real. That's real. Mickey flipping Lucas. I keep saying Lucas. Loomis. Some AKA call him Doomus, and that's what's going on with the Saints right now. Mismanagement like a dog. All right, yeah, J Rock. See you go. Love under that's Mickey Howard. There you go. See y'all R&B my R&B historians in the building. Man, that's an old school joint right there. I was listening to that a couple of weeks ago. It popped up on R&B on the app. All right, so anyway, Brian Johnson, man, former Eagles offensive coordinator, interview scheduled for Monday. Johnson becomes the fifth person under 40 years old that the Saints have expressed interest in. 36. Lasted one season as the Eagles OC. He was fired after a tumultuous season, which I don't know if we want to look at this guy. he was fired. All right, Philly started 10-1 before finishing 11-6 and losing to the Buccaneers in the playoffs. During the decline, the Eagles offense regressed in several key areas, such as turnovers and passing. The unit still ranked in the top 10, though, in major areas like points, yards, rushing yards. Before the season, the Eagles promoted Johnson, the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, due to his work with the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Under Johnson's watch, Hurts blossomed into an MVP candidate back in 2022 and was named the Offensive Player of the Year as the Eagles made the Super Bowl. The Eagles also needed an offensive coordinator because Shane Steinem, how you pronounce his name? Steichen? I don't know. Left the coach for Indianapolis. Johnson is still seen as a rising coach around the NFL. He had 3 head coaching interviews with the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Titans, also drawing interest from Cleveland and the Bucs for their vacant offensive coordinator positions. Before getting into coaching, Johnson was a starting quarterback for the University of Utah. He began his coaching career at the collegiate level while working his way up the ranks, including offensive coordinator stints at Utah, Houston, and Florida before jumping to the NFL in 2021. So another candidate there, and also prospective candidates. This is the big money candidate that the Saints are looking at. John Gruden, former Raiders coach. Saints were also known to have interest in Gruden, but it's unclear whether an actual interview has taken place. Now, there are reports that were reported on that we talked about before the end of the season, where Gruden and Mickey Loomis and others met in Tampa Bay prior to that last Tampa Bay matchup. That they talked about it and they expressed interest in each other, meaning the Saints wanted him and he wanted to be there. John Gruden is trying to get back into the NFL. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants John Gruden except for the Saints. And people say, well, Q, why do they want John Gruden? It's Derek flipping Carr is the reason why John Gruden is a thing for the New Orleans Saints. I'm keeping it real. This is not a Dennis Allen play. This is not a Mickey flipping Dumas, a.k.a. Saints general mismanager. That has nothing to do with what they want. It is what they're doing, what Carr wants. The $150 million quarterback wants. He wants John Gruden. All right, Gruden resigned from his role as a Raiders coach in 21 with emails containing racist, homophobic, and sexist language from the ESPN days were leaked to the press. Gruden has since filed a lawsuit against the NFL and Goodell for seeking to destroy his career, and they did do it through a malicious and orchestrated campaign. 2 things they were attempting to do, according to reports. One was to get rid of Snyder, which they did, and the second one was to get rid of Gruden, and they accomplished it. But that last one was a biggie. That was a toughie, as Mickey would say, because it might end up bringing Goodell and several other people tied to the NFL down. You know, that's how we doing. Gruden has filed a lawsuit against the NFL seeking to, then they did it. Loomis said questions about Gruden were fair, but added he wasn't going to speak about specific candidates, right? You're not going to talk about it. That's the biggest one right there, is the fact that the Saints are looking at John Gruden. Could all this other stuff be window dressing as they get ready to wait for Gruden, whose case is supposed to be finished according to reports over the next several days? So we'll simply see about that. All right, off the board, Shane Waldron. This is a Seattle Seahawks coordinator. Saints requested an interview with him, but ultimately he was snatched away by the Bears, who needed an OC after firing Lou Getsy. Waldron heads to Chicago, where the Bears will have to make a decision on Justin Fields. Word on the street is that they're going to trade Fields. And even Brian Urlacher, the great inside linebacker, Brian Urlacher, was saying that they should don't pass on Caleb Williams. Make sure you get Williams, and boom, bam, beam. They was trying to trade him last year, if y'all remember, and then they just pulled back at the last second. This year, I think he'll be gone because new administration, new people coming there, they think Williams is the legit thing, the legit quarterback to take them into the next 10 years of Chicago-style football. So, that's the thing. So they got a coordinator there, and Waldron. Dan Pitcher. The former Bengals quarterback coach pitcher didn't have to leave Cincinnati to earn a promotion. Now that the Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan has earned another job, the Tennessee Titans hired Callahan to be their next coach, setting the stage for Pitcher to step into Callahan's old role and stay with the Bengals. New Orleans had already interviewed Pitcher, who was 37 once, and had a second interview lined up later on. Now it won't happen because he don't need your stinking job. He has a job now. All right. So anyway, that's some of the stuff right here, family, about the OC stuff that we all have right here as we keep it pushing and moving. All right. So anyway, let's jump on to the next thing, man. Let me kind of family members, y'all got anything? Y'all please feel free to throw it in the chat. What's up, Rock? How you doing, sir? Says Q. We coming back strong next year, though we are nervous. No, don't be nervous, bro. Canellis is a solid. We're going to talk about that coming up right now, matter of fact. Canellis was a very good choice. I know the guy. I know a lot of family members wanted, the other guy. I know y'all wanted the guy from Detroit, Detroit's offensive coordinator. But the reality is Canellis is a good pickup for you. And it's going to be one of those type of situations like what happened with Miami. When they picked up that Miami coach last year, a lot of people are like, what was that? Fam, they needed somebody that could work with Bryce, who believes in Bryce Young and can get him involved in the offense. Canellis could do that. He was largely responsible for what happened with Baker Mayfield. He took Baker Mayfield, helped them, integrate into that offense, and look how Baker Mayfield looked after his confidence had fell out. He was traded twice, or he had two movements in the same season. This was a guy that nobody had confidence in. He looked awful in Carolina. He goes to Tampa Bay, 1 year, $4 million, and turns into a quarterback that takes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just lost Tom Brady, into the second round of the playoffs. This guy actually won a playoff game with Tampa Bay and pushed past, won the NFC South. Nobody but the most diehard Tampa Bay Buccaneer person would think that would happen. Nobody would think that Tampa Bay, if you told me when Tom Brady retired, that Baker Mayfield will take the job and take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into the playoffs and get a playoff victory. Nobody seen that. The Bucs made it happen. A lot of that was because of Canellis. He really did a really good job there. So, I mean, he's going to work well with those guys. So, anyway, let's cover this. Shout out to my guy, Kyle T. Mosley at the Saints News Network, who put a good little article about this. Saints and NFC South foes make surprising head coaching hires. This indicates Saints and NFC South foes have made surprising hires for the head coaching positions, Carolina and Atlanta. And, of course, we know this is going to be good. Dave Canellis, first to Carolina, plan to hire Tampa Bay offensive coordinator Canellis to become their coach, in which they did. He'll work with Bryce Young. That's a big thing. Over his last two stints in Seattle and Tampa, he revived the careers of both Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield. Imagine what he can do with a guy like Bryce Young, and building that offense around him. And that is big because it's not just a fluke. What he helped do with Geno Smith was phenomenal. And then what he did, if it didn't show you that Canellis was the truth, what he did with Baker Mayfield this past season, man, I don't know what to tell you. This guy is exactly what these people need down there in Carolina to turn things around. So Canellis was a good charge, a good pickup. Raheem Morris, this is a phenomenal hire for the Atlanta Falcons. It's a low profile hiring, but he's just the type of coach that they need in that culture down there for Atlanta. And then he turns around and then he picks up and hires his offensive coordinator, who would install an offense similar to what the Rams run, out there in Los Angeles. And what's his name? What's the guy name? Hold on here. I just had this article up here. I was going to bring it. Oh yeah, Zach Robinson. I'm sorry. And shout out to Zach Robinson, man. Him and his wife had a baby, their second child. And 20 minutes later, they said that he told his agent that he was going to take the job to be offensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. So he bringing a lot of that Ram style, that open air offense that the Rams like to run to Atlanta, and you have all these weapons. You got all these people around. You got the Kyle Pitts, you got the Drake Londons, you got the Bijan Robinson, you got Tyler Algieri, you got Juju Smith, the backup tight end, doing and putting in some work. And they'll add some people as well this offseason. So Atlanta, from an offensive standpoint, is a team that's going to be very dangerous this upcoming year. And we just in the sitting and waiting position. Anyway, back to Raheem Morris. He nixed. They said Atlanta nixed the Bill Belichick in favor of Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris. He'll return to the NFC South as a head coach after leading the Buccaneers from 2009 to 2011. He was the Falcons' interim head coach in 2020, replacing Dan Snyder after the midseason termination. Currently, he is 21-38 record as a head coach. That will change. Morris, who's 47, has won 2 Super Bowl rings. He won his first ring as a staff member with the Bucs during that Super Bowl, y'all remember, and the most recent ring with the Rams. Both hires filled head coach openings in NFC South. The current head coach, Dennis Allen, Todd Bowles, Dave Canellis, and Raheem Morris. So that's what we're looking like here. And of course, Falcons gave Raheem a 5-year contract and said, hey, listen, we are going to wait on you, yada, yada, yada. You're going to build this team. And listen, the dude is a smart coach. He's a player style coach. He's disciplined. He knows football. And this is going to be problematic to the Saints and Dennis Allen, who is not fundamental, who is incompetent, who's not attention detail focused, who's not very, it's a lot of stuff going on there. But these guys they're bringing in here do have these traits. Unfortunately, I have to tell you guys that, but it is the truth, so it's going to be interesting, man, to see exactly how all this is going to run with our adversaries picking up these terrific coaching hires, man. And in the end, it is going to be fun watching the NFC South in 2024. So, like I said, it's all to the good. All right. Like y'all, like I said, don't get down on yourself. I know Ultimate Street. I know. All right, Brother John says, Q, do you have a preference on who they bring in as OC? I do like Brian Greasy. I think Brian Greasy would be a good pickup for the black and gold. But ultimately, fam, I don't know. I'm kind of dialing back on that. Although I'm interested to see what Ronald Curry has, if they really serious about Ronald Curry. But Brian Greasy to me seems like a good fit for the team. But then again, are they really serious about these guys? Or this is just buying time for John Gruden? Ultimately, that's what they're going to end up doing. All right, Brother John, thank you for that. Y'all can feel free to drop some questions in the chat. I'm going to go to Q&A in just a second after we cover this article right here. And a bit of on the opposite side of stuff, a man convicted of manslaughter of killing former New Orleans Saints great Will Smith, the defensive end, is convicted. You remember this, and for those, didn't they convict him already? Q? Well, a lot of things happened. Man who shot former New Orleans Saints star Will Smith following a traffic stop crash nearly 8 years ago had been convicted of manslaughter. The jury deliberated for more than 4 hours and reached his verdict in a retrial of Cardell Hayes just after midnight Saturday. News outlet reported he faces up to 40 years in prison. The jury acquitted Hayes of an attempted manslaughter in the shooting and wounding of Smith's wife during the April 2016 confrontation. Hayes, who's 36, had previously been convicted in December of 2016 of manslaughter and Smith's death and attempted manslaughter for the gunshot wounding of Raquel Smith or Rachel Smith. I think that's Raquel or Rachel. But the jury vote was 10-2, and the conviction was tossed after the U.S. Supreme Court outlawed ununanimous verdicts. Hayes was released on bond after having served more than 4 years of a 25-year sentence. His retrial was delayed for various reasons, including court closures during the C-19 pandemic, and prosecutors rested their case against Hayes on Friday, and the defense chose not to call witnesses after that. The city's top prosecutor insisted during his closing arguments that Hayes fired needlessly. Quote, one gun was fired by one man, District Attorney Jason Williams said, holding in the air the evidence attacked handgun Hayes fired, hitting Smith 8 times, 7 in the back, and also hitting Smith's wife in the legs. The defense attorney, which was Fuller, insisted prosecutors had not proven Hayes did not act in self-defense. Fuller pointed to a recording of a 9/11 call made soon after the shooting, in which Hayes can be heard in the background claiming Smith had stated he intended to get a gun from his car. Fuller sought to refute prosecutors' claims that Smith had claimed her husband, who calmed her husband down by the time Hayes opened fire. You don't say calm down, it's not worth it. If you don't say calm down, it's not worth it. He said, referring to the prosecution's testimony about Rachel's efforts to defuse the argument. Evidence showed that Will Smith was intoxicated at the time of the confrontation. but there was no witness or forensic evidence to back up Hayes' claim that Smith had wielded a fired weapon. Now, listen, fam, y'all know I've covered this before about this, but Will Smith was coming from a luncheon or something to that degree. It was a dinner or a luncheon of some sort where he was with police officers, and the claim was word on the street, right, is that Will was going to get that pistol. Because remember, the guy, you can see it's a whole video there of them driving. And the guy, Will Smith does bump into the guy. Then the guy does stupidly. He then chases him down and then bumps into him. And all this was needless. It's ridiculous. Will Smith shouldn't be dead from what happened. And the guy they got out. They confronted each other. A threat was made. Will turned around and walked to his vehicle. And the guy wasn't playing it. If somebody telling you they're going to get a pistol for you, you're going to stand there and wait for him. So the dude didn't. He shouldn't shot him 7 times in the back. He opened up with him. And they said that who shot her, and this is alleged, word on the street, is that when he opened, Will got his gun, and before he could turn around, the guy, shot him in the back several times. And Will Smith had the gun, and his gun, word on the street alleged, that his gun in his hand went off and he shot his wife in the leg. And then the gun disappeared from the scene, and they accused, it's alleged now, they accused that whoever he was eating with, which was law enforcement, had pulled that gun. They took that gun. So in the end, it was just a whole bunch of stuff. But in the end, this guy's going back to jail for he's facing 40 years in prison. So like I said, it was a lot of stuff going on during that whole altercation. But in the end, all this is needless because both of these families are destroyed. Will Smith's dead for something as trivial and ridiculous as that. And this guy here, Hayes, is in prison and he had a family. So we got 2 destroyed families before something as foolish and frivolous as what we seen. Is really for nothing. All this for nothing. And 2 lives, 2 families destroyed because of it. So it's crazy, man. It's insane. All right. So anyway, family, that's what I got for y'all today, man, to cover some of the news and notes there. If y'all want to, feel free to throw any questions in the chat. Feel free to do it. Feel free to throw them in the chat. But in the end, man, with this, looking at what we looking at in terms of the Saints offensive search, in terms of what they're looking at as OCs, it's not hard to determine, that, and I can see really, family, that the Saints are really kind of just sitting on and they kind of wait for John Gruden. In my case, that's what I'm really looking at. They kind of sitting there with Gruden and thinking about what they're going to do with John Gruden. He's the centerpiece of whatever they're trying to do. So whether you have Kubiak or Johnson or Brian Greasy, these are who people believe are the realistic candidates for the offensive coordinator position. Now, there's still a lot of other positions that should be filled that we have not filled, not one position. We need a wide receivers coach because they fired Cody Burns. I think probably, I don't understand why they did that. Perhaps, it was a line that was drawn, because I'm hearing a lot of stuff out there. We talked about this during the season. Like when the season ended, there's a line where guys that like Dennis Allen, guys that don't like Dennis Allen. So and I'm pretty sure they got coaches the same way, as looking at it like we're looking at it, like this guy don't know what the hell he doing, man. They're not any different than you going to work somewhere and you got a dumb manager who just making bad decisions. You tell them, hey, you know what? I don't think you should do that because such and such. Nah, you can do it. You're like, nah, I don't think you should. But they doing it. A lot of these people, and I ain't gonna lie, a lot of these managers got managerial position and they shouldn't have management positions, because a lot of these companies be looking for a certain type of manager who's just brainless. And I'm no disrespect, but I'm saying just not so much a guy that has intelligence, but a guy is willing to take orders. Go down there and tell them to do this. Oh yeah, okay. That type of stuff. So you have bad managers or mismanagers. How about that? That's better. You got bad mismanagers. We got a bad mismanager for the Saints. But it's the same thing. Like if you have a person that is a manager, a mismanager, and you see how just ridiculous their decision-making is, how poor they are, how they ignore things, they're not all this kind of stuff, you'll lose respect. You'll lose respect for them. And the players do too. They're not going to play for somebody that's not keeping it together. That's why you see this the same story the world over. When you see some of these other coaches go somewhere and they excel, like Campbell in Detroit. Campbell is a dude that's serious about what he's doing. Coach Glenn, who was the defensive coordinator, went up there. He was the secondaries coach. He went up there with the defensive coordinator. Detroit's a game away from the Super Bowl, man. They're again, those guys used to be coaches for the Saints. They got players on that team that were used to play for the Saints, and they're helping the Detroit Lions. And listen, don't undersell what Detroit's doing. That team hadn't won anything in years. They hadn't gone anywhere in years. They were a repetitive failure year after year and were a joke. They were a joke. And look at them. They're one game from the Super Bowl. That's what people who are respected, that know what they're doing. And then Campbell's not, he's not a flashy dude. Look at D'Amico Ryans, what he did with Houston. He went to Houston. Houston was losing for years. And D'Amico Ryans went there and he installed in leadership there. And everybody bought into his leadership. Everybody. I remember we brought, the insider in from the Texans in here to talk about it. And he talked about how the team loved D'Amico, how the franchise loved D'Amico, how the press loved D'Amico Ryans. All of them bought in, and look what they bought into. His first year, he takes the team into the playoffs, and they handle their business, and that's just unbelievable. But that's what good leadership gets you. When you got a guy that's serious, that's detail focused, that knows what to do, that's what happens. They buy in, and that's what happens. If you have the opposite effect, and we have that here, then you get the opposite result. You won't get the D'Amico Ryan result with the Texans. You'll get the opposite result. You get a half-ass team that sometimes show up and sometimes that don't show up. They can't beat any good teams, because in order to beat good teams who have those intangibles that I mentioned that D'Amico Ryans has or Campbell has with Detroit, you're not going to beat those teams, because you don't have enough of that to overcome them. You can't beat it. If you're a sloppy ass off code team like the Saints are, you're not going to beat a team that has a mindset and an identity that's on code. You're not going to do it. That's why we can't beat any good teams. You ain't beating no good teams. You beat Detroit. Tampa Bay. You got to give you that one. We did beat Tampa Bay, but any of them other guys that had winning records, the Saints couldn't do nothing with them, man. Because it take more. It take more from the coach to be able to do that, and from general mismanager Mickey Dumas Loomis, that the guy is out of his freaking top, man. No doubt about it. All right, so shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all being here. Charlie says if the Saints did their job, Tampa wouldn't have won. Indeed, I agree wholeheartedly, Charlie. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All right, what's up, Pammy? So we still searching, huh, Q? Hit that Glenn Jones. I've been searching. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, see, Pammy, y'all got that good game, man. Let me see if I can pull that Glenn Jones up. Hold on. I got on to hit you with the I've been searching. Yeah, that's a good one right there. Hold on. Let me play a little of that right quick. Hold on. I got a request going on here. I can't play all of them, but I give you a little bit of that right quick. I've been searching. I got you. Yeah, I got you. All right. Here, let's see. Can y'all hear that? Who wanted to sweat? Nobody like you. Can y'all hear that? Put one in the chat if y'all can hear that, man. Can y'all hear that? Can y'all hear that? Put one in the chat, man. I don't know if y'all can hear it, man. Put one in the chat if y'all can hear it. All right, cool. Oh, man. I've been searching. I've been looking. Every now and then makes me want. Yes. Yeah. I've been searching. Yeah. For so long. Nobody. Yeah. Nobody like Dennis Allen. We don't. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all crazy, man. Yeah, Pammy, that was a good one right there. That was a real good one right there. Y'all know I gotta play that for y'all. All right. DJ Q. All right, Gundam, what's happening, bro? It says I just desire great Saints football again. Yeah, bro, it's gonna be interesting, man. To be honest with you, but like I said, fam, this is the desperation times, and I'm telling the family members that don't be down on it, because this year is truth year. This is a truthful year for the Saints. Now in the off season, just don't be blown away by some of the hires and stuff that they do. We're in a wait and see pattern, and they're ignoring it. Like Dennis Allen deserves to be fired. He really does. This is not a situation where this is a rebuild like it's the Houston Texans. No, this is not a young team. The Saints are one of the oldest teams in the NFL. So it's no need for us to like look at Dennis Allen and say, yeah, well, he's building the team up from being a young team to no. The Saints were a team when he got here that was supposed to be in the playoffs. He was supposed to get them from 9-7 into the playoffs, but he went backwards. He went 7-10. Then this year he gets all of his little coaches, he gets all of his drafted quarterback here, and then they win 9 games, still lose. 9 games, going 9-8 is not a benefit or good benefit for the New Orleans Saints family members and supporters. It's not, because you understand the situation around the team is that this is an old team, and these next 3 years are supposed to be playoff years. You're supposed to be competing in the playoffs against other teams. Saints couldn't even beat teams that are in the playoffs right now. They couldn't beat Green Bay. Green Bay came back and beat them. They put 18 points on them in 11 minutes a game, and just stupid. They couldn't beat Detroit. They did beat Tampa Bay, but still in all it didn't make a difference because all the teams that were supposed to lose won, and really you lost it when you couldn't beat the Rams. That's another thing. Not beating the Rams, the teams you faced the Rams, you had Carr there, couldn't beat the Rams. You beat the Rams, you go. But in the end, 9-8 is not a benefit to the supporters of the team. It's a benefit to Dennis Allen only, because he never had a winning record as a head coach. He can scratch that off his bucket list and say, I got a winning record. And they can stop saying that about me, that I ain't got a winning record. I got a winning record now. So, I mean, that's only a benefit for him. That don't benefit us at all. And now with this upcoming final year for Dennis Allen, he has to he has to rework the entire offense, which is going to require time. And during that time are the Saints winning games. You see what I'm saying? You got a year older defense with Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, who played really well, though 2 of the 3 played really well this past year, but these guys are getting older. And the Saints are going to have to bring in talent, and they really haven't been hitting on that much talent in the draft. Being very productive. Peyton Turner can't stay healthy. Carl Granderson was an undrafted guy that's out playing the first-round draft picks. He earned a contract. You got Isaiah Foskey, the snowman, but yet to prove what he can do. So there are issues. There's rumors circulating around about Lattimore being traded because he's on that other side of the line we just talked about. So I don't know how true they are, but there are rumors circulating around with this New Orleans thing. So if you do all of that, you lose a shutdown cornerback, and they played well in a small increment without Lattimore there, but don't get it twisted. You would need Lattimore on this team. So anyway, Jordan Houghton played well, just to make mention of it, but they got major offensive line issues. Ryan Ramczyk's career is in jeopardy. Trevor Penning's confidence is in jeopardy. The left tackle and left guard positions need to be filled. You see, Michael Thomas is out of here. I really do think that. So they have to find another receiver there. They got a couple of them in the draft. Do you go there? Do you go to a veteran? And like I said, it's several things. And then who's going to be the offensive coordinator? That's a big thing. Who's going to run the offense? And it requires time for that to catch up. And listen, not just for the quarterback, but for everybody in the entire offense. All they ever knew was Sean Payton's offense. And now you bring in a total new offensive mindset that disturbs everything. And they have to relearn a whole new offense going into the season. How fast do they pick up on that while we are going against adversaries, against teams? You get me? So it disturbs a lot, man. It really does. So we'll see. All right. So anyway, all right. 504 Coach says, really hope we hired the young brother from the Texans. Yeah, the second interview, bro. We'll see. Gundam says, question Q. was the decision making process of hiring the offensive court OC taking so long? Because this is all my analysis, bro. This is just my take. I think all of this is taking long because they're waiting to see what's happening with John Gruden. Remember, his case is already started. We covered this. I covered this on a prior show about John Gruden getting an update about it, that they're going to it and it's supposed to be settled in the next week or so, where we're going into the second week of the hearing. So they're thinking over the next several days, they'll have a verdict on John Gruden's case. So I think the Saints are playing it. They plan for time here and waiting to see what happens to John Gruden. That's just my take, because there's no reason for them not to pick up one of these guys, because these guys are talented. Now, the brother Johnson, this is a dude that could be pilfered by somebody else, but they're not in a rush. And remember, Mickey Loomis told you that. If anything, he said he's not in a rush. Y'all remember that? Put one in the chat if y'all remember that. Put one in the chat. Thank you, Derek. Gundam, shout out to you. Big ups to Derek. Don't trade Laddie Daddy. Yeah, I know, bro. Don't. I get you, bro. Molly says Mickey would look dumb and stupid if he fired Dennis Allen. He would look dumb and stupid if he fired. Well, the thing is, people be so elated that they fired Dennis Allen that it was a long time coming. But we have to remember what happened and put that in their face. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that go down the memory hole. Like, bring that back up and always present that in their face and understand that this is bad. This is general mismanager Mickey Loomis, or AKA Mickey Dumas, out here operating a foul, operating out of arrogance, and none of this is intelligent. All this is arrogance. I'm Mickey Loomis, and I do it. I found Sean Payton. I picked well, and I picked Dennis Allen, and Dennis Allen is going to be like Sean Payton. That's how he thinks in his mind. That's how he thinks, that he can't make a bad decision. That decision he made with Dennis Allen is going to work out just like it worked out with Sean Payton. Now, granted, these are totally two different people with total two different skill and intangible sets. Totally different. You got an alpha and a beta right here. It's a big difference. Sean Payton will talk nasty at you, put you in the doghouse, but Sean Payton ain't going to backstab you. That's one thing Sean Payton won't do. This Dennis Allen dude, he'll backstab the hell out of it. He backstabbed his whole team, offensive team, on live TV after they decimated the Atlanta Falcons, and then even apologized to the Falcons as he's stabbing the Saints players in their backs. You talking about a worm and a half, a full worm and a piece of garbage this guy is. But you're going to keep that as your head coach, that dude, who none of this make any sense. Any general manager, which he's not, with good sense will realize this is a bad move and you should move on from him, where there are credible candidates that are available. It's a pool of really credible candidates that's available to take the Saints into the future. But you hold on to this guy here, this backstabby, weaselly little guy who is just that lacks so many things and is not interested in obtaining the things that he lacks to be functional. He's thinking it's all about adding players to the team. That's what they're thinking. We just got to add a player here or there, Q, and it'll work out. What are you talking about? I'm not going to fire Dennis Allen. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I know what I'm doing. You guys aren't qualified. You're lazy and unsophisticated. I'm just telling you, you guys don't know nothing. I've been a general manager for almost 40 years. You guys have been for 40 years. You've been talking on your ass. Let me tell you, you don't know what you're talking about here. I know I'm qualified. That's how you look at it. I'm serious, bro. It's crazy, man. I make light of it, but I'm telling you, he thinking like he found Sean Payton, that he's found Dennis Allen, even though he didn't find Dennis Allen. Sean Payton told him to put Dennis Allen as a head coach, and he does whatever Sean Payton tell him to do. He does it, man. And this is the reality. That's why I say you don't have a real general manager. You have a general mismanager named Mickey Loomis, a.k.a. Mickey Dumas. Because with him at the helm as a so-called general manager, your team is doomed. All right, so anyway. All right, what's up, Hemisphere? Shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, and it's all's going to happen, bro. All things are going to happen, bro. Y'all just enjoy the season. Do not get down. I'm telling y'all, do not get down on yourself for this upcoming NFL season. Enjoy it because the truth's coming out. If Dennis Allen's who Mickey Loomis says he is, we shall see this upcoming season. If we're right, and we've been right, and if we're wrong, then we'll apologize to Mickey, aka Mickey Loomis. We'll apologize to him. But like we shall see. That's what I'm saying. Truth is coming, man. You can't run away from it. This is coming. I'd Miss Chandler says Ronald Curry knows the best West Coast system. He played in it for Gruden when he was a wide receiver back in his early playing career. Curry won't create a whole new system, just his own plays. Gruden as advisor. Yeah, that's the thing. Very well said there, Miss Chandler. Appreciate your commentary. But Gruden coming aboard do you really think Gruden, who is a Super Bowl winning head coach, is going to take a sub role to Ronald Curry? That is that's the thing. Because that Gruden coming in as an alpha, I don't think he sits underneath Ronald Curry. I do like what you said. I just don't see that happening. It'll make a lot of sense. It'll make a lot of sense. But we know that's not what the Saints are into right now. All right. Gundam said that's why we're relearning offense. Yeah, that's why with relearning offense, they need to be moving at light speed to get the new offense installed and play. Yeah, the good comment there, Gundam. Shout out to you, bro. Yeah, y'all dropping good game here, man. Y'all saying a lot of great stuff. All right, Archangel says, no, don't fire DA. Yeah, of course you're going to say that. You're Atlanta, man. Rise up. Yeah, I hear you, man. Keep Dennis Allen, bro. Y'all going to help us with that next year. Y'all going to help us with that next year. Let me tell you something, man. Yeah, let me tell you, you getting Raheem Morris over there, and him getting him picking up that offensive coordinator Robinson from the Rams and doing all that. Y'all gonna help out with Dennis Allen. I promise you that much. All right. Yeah. Rich, shout out to Rich, man. Yeah, I'm just keeping it real, bro. A lot of people ain't gonna say that, man, but I'm just keeping it real. Word on the street and keeping it real, telling the family members what time it is. MS Fairs, if they do not trade Laddie, that wouldn't surprise me. Look at how many good players the Saints lost over the past couple of years. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. That's what's in the pipe. They're hearing that Lattimore's in trade rumors, portion of why they restructured his deal. He could be promoting that. Like, I'm tired of this, man. You guys, such and such. You never know, man. You never know, because this is mismanagement, bro. Anything is possible negative in terms of personnel with a mismanager operating. And all of this is a stupid, feeble attempt to try to appease a weaselly coach that's ultimately going to end up getting fired. So you're gonna hurt your team in terms of player who you developed and turned into a top-notch cornerback. You're gonna get him out of here for a head coach that won't survive the season next year. Think about that. That's why I'm saying this guy's a general mismanager. He don't even have the forethought to even much capitulate what I just said. He don't even see that. That's why he's not a real, I kept telling y'all, not a real general manager. He wouldn't do it. You won't sacrifice the best people on your team for a head coach that won't even be here, who won't even survive the season next year. Crazy. So you get double loss. You lose more personnel, and you get rid of your head coach to find somebody else. You got to ultimately bring another guy in there. Listen, I like what Isaac Yiadom did last year, but that's a small servant of what Isaac Yiadom did last year. I'm looking, that's a small servant, but I'm not ready to get rid of Laddie Daddy just because I seen that little old stuff last year. Shout out to Isaac Yiadom. He looked really well, but I know what I got with Lattimore. I know Laddie gets hurt every now and again. They all do miss some time right there. And Lonte had a tough season, but you don't trade your top-notch cornerbacks if you can help it. I'm just saying. Molly Mall, thank you for the super chat, bro. Says Q, I mentioned Mickey would look stupid if he fired Dennis Allen after he compared Dennis Allen to legendary coaches. Mickey doesn't like to be proven wrong. Well, he's wrong. He's been proven wrong. The last 2 years have been wrong. He don't like people to challenge him. I know that, Molly Mall. He don't like to be challenged. He don't like me challenging him like this. I've been told that Mickey Loomis does not like me challenging them. They don't like me making impersonations of them and all that. Well, too goddamn bad. Scratch your ass and drink a Coke. Because at the end of the day, this is what we're going to keep hammering you with until you get this team turned around. We're not just bored sitting up here talking about this. You're operating a foul, bro. And I'm calling it out. And I've been calling it out. And I wasn't hitting you like this at first, but as you get more belligerent, as you get more elitist, that's what I do. I turn it up too. And I ain't gonna stop. Why should I? I'm keeping it real. I'm telling the truth. I'm not saying nothing and then he gives you all the ammunition. He gives you the ammunition to throw back at him. He gives you all of it when he starts talking. You're not qualified. You're lazy and unsophisticated. All this kind of stuff. He gives you all the ammunition. You throw it right back at him. The guy self-exposes, man, is what I'm saying. We've pinpointed what he does. He doesn't do anything, and I've been pinpointing that all season long. Why don't Mickey step in there and do something? Q, I said he ain't gonna do it because he don't know what to do. What are you gonna step in there and tell him what to do? He don't know what to do. He's a VP masquerading as a general manager. He's not a real general manager. I've been saying that. Have I not been saying that? And now you're seeing it. Why he ain't say something to him? Why he do the speeches during the year when it could have made a difference? Why he waited till after the year to give a dumbass speech when the year over with? Where was his stupid speeches during the year? Kat Terrell told you during the question when she was questioning him in the end of the season press conference that she said you have very little interaction with the players during the season. Put one in the chat if you heard Kat Terrell saying that. We played it on the show. She said that you have very limited interaction with the players during the season. What did you say to him at the end of the season? Very limited. That goddamn guy sit up on his ass, and I told you don't do nothing. His door is closed. That's why when a couple years ago when Jameis went to the press, Mickey Loomis he had his damn door closed. Where was Jameis going to go? When guys are frustrated and guys are speeding all over the place, two of our wide receivers went to jail because they frustrated. Where was Mickey Loomis at before all that happened? Because you got to build that up. It got to be built up. You don't just do that and then go out there and do that. No, it's built up to a point where frustration happens. What was Mickey Loomis at then? What was his stupid, weak-ass speeches at then when all that stuff was happening, huh? Maybe he spoke to him after the fact, but where was he involved? He's not involved in none of that. That's why you need a real general manager that can quell the room, that can come in here and make sure everybody's good, that keeps his thumb on the head coach who has very limited success in terms of winning games. You don't treat Dennis Allen like you would do Sean Payton. Payton is proven. Dennis Allen is not. That's common sense. Common sense general manager 101. Being that he's not a real general manager, that's why you get him going away. And then when you start lambasting Dennis Allen, talking about how poor the offense looked, what did he do? He come out and made excuses for Dennis Allen. He got up there and berated the press, talk shit and all this, and told you wasn't qualified. Then at the end of the year when they failed, when he gets up here looking like he high on something with his eye bucking out of his damn head, glossed over, his face flushed, chewing on gum, drinking water, no flavor in the damn gum, making these weird gyrations with his arms, reading these stupid ass stats, don't even back up nothing. Comparing Dennis Allen, this dude was out of his complete mind. And ultimately, I'm saying somebody need to go over there and do a wellness check on that dude for real. Because it was like he was off meds or something. That was totally a shit show. Pardon my French. But thank you, Maul. Appreciate the super chat.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Yeah, shout out to you. All right, what's up, that boy alone? He says, Big Q, have you seen the Saints schedule for next year? I seen it, bro. I seen the schedule for the Saints coming up next year, and the wins versus losses breakdown. I've seen an article on that. How they're anticipating the Saints to have a what they consider a soft schedule again next year. I would have to wait to see that to believe that, because like this past year, even though it's anticipated that the Saints will have a soft schedule in terms of wins or losses from the previous year, I don't think we'll go through that again this year. This past year that we just went through was the ultimate version where the Saints could have actually went and done something positive. Like they could have won the NFC South. They could have made the playoffs, and they didn't do it because they were mismanaged. They were mismanaged. Talent mismanaged. All of this. They didn't make adjustments when they were supposed to. And then at the end of the year, Dennis Allen tells you that he's pissed that he didn't make the playoffs, even though he was the one that's responsible for him not making the playoffs. How do you not have the forethought and the foresight to see that you was directly responsible in things that you should have did during the season? I thought you was a head coach before. I thought you were supposed to know how to act and to change guys around and not let guys sit on top of the offensive room when people are promoting you to make decisions, to make changes at the offensive level, and you do nothing. You do not do anything. You do absolutely nothing. But you sit up here and at the end of the year says you're pissed. See, I don't have time for time wasting trolls and people that don't even see that. Simple stuff like making a change. Let this guy call the plays for a couple games. See how that happened. That idiot didn't even do that. And we're going to call him a head coach of a professional team? How did Mickey Loomis justify that? He said, well, that was really on me because I was supposed to do this. And he takes the blame from Dennis Allen onto himself, which is really, it is Mickey Loomis. But we know Dennis Allen's not a real head coach. We know he's not a head coach. We know he lacks a lot of things to compete against real head coaches. They can only beat teams that sub 500 teams or 500 teams. Competing teams with winning records, they can't beat them. They can't beat them. They're not prepared well. They're inconsistent. They're up and down. They can't run the ball. The offensive line look like shit. But does he make any changes? No, he doesn't make any changes. He doesn't make any changes. But at the end of the year, I'm pissed. I'm pissed that we didn't make the playoffs. We didn't get anything. But I promise you that I'm going to get to the bottom. They were saying that the whole year, man. We got to figure out the answers. Remember that? Derek Carr lying, telling you he got the answers. They're in the building. Jeff Duncan, they said, well, what are the answers? Well, we can't tell you because they're in the building. Remember that? We dealt with all that, man. I just, like I said, I don't think it's going to, I think at the end of the day that the light will shine on the New Orleans Saints organization. We'll get sanitation going on. We'll get sanitized, man. I mean, the pressure of them winning, you got a more improved window of what's happening in the NFC South with these coaches that's coming in here. So you're going to have a lot more difficulty there. The fact that they're taking so long to do all this stuff dealing with the offensive room, we'll see, man. We'll ultimately see what goes down. All right, Rock, shout out to you, fam. Oh, yeah, Rich, thank you, bro. Appreciate the super chat.
I want to say thank you very much for picking me up and bringing me back to this world.
Oh, yeah, so we just tell it like it is, man. That's all we can do, man, is keep it real. But like I said, fam, I don't want anybody out there to be taking this upcoming season and looking at the New Orleans Saints and saying, oh, man, here we go. Don't do that. Don't give yourself also don't get down on it, man. Listen, this is Veritas. This is what needs to happen. You know, we got a mismanager on top of the team who's arrogant, who's operating out of arrogance, and they always get the issue. When you're not operating on truth and experience and do what you're supposed to do and doing the right stuff, you're going to get your issue sooner or later. And that's what's going to end up happening with this guy. We got the mismanager on top of the team. He can't protect his garbage time head coach coming up this year. He has to produce or get fired. You can't protect him. This is the year. So like I said, man, it's going to be interesting to see. So don't take a down approach. I'm not going to take a down approach on nothing. I'm going to keep representing and keep doing here. I just ain't going to give them none of their damn. I ain't giving them no money. Don't you dare give them no money either. You keep your ass from on down there. Don't go down there. When they disrespecting you like that, they talking, oh, you don't know. You guys don't know. And they got people silly out here saying, well, Mickey's right. You really don't know. No, speak for your damn self. We know what results are and what we're supposed to be doing. We know what results are. All right, Rock says, you say the Saints are mismanaged, so the Panthers, that makes the Panthers running into the ground. Well, Tepper is not a football dude. You don't have a football dude right there. You got an arrogant businessman too, but he seems to have learned his lesson, man. When you think you can win at everything and then you go into the NFL thinking you can win and you need football people to do it and they don't do it. I mean, it's just one of those things that people have to ultimately learn. But anyway, with that being said, man, get right out of here. I appreciate y'all for chiming in. Y'all feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. I appreciate you guys hollering at me in this thing, man. Listen, I'm going to pop in here on another time. Later on in the week, I got a mock draft that's coming up for our Patreon and our YouTube membership family. The first mock, I got a really good mock draft that I got popping out to the family members on our TSC Unleashed Patreon stream and our YouTube membership family to be coming out tonight. So you guys be looking out for that. So much love to the fam. I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love and who dat to you.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 huh? Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, fucking like this, and I'm a who dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
whothatdaily.com. That's right, the whothatdaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, whothatdaily.com is your site. The whothatdaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the